Hello my peeps, this is Kat aka Kakibot, and as you can probably tell, I am saying hi to you from my annual video about the festival season, and I am here on the Royal Mile, which in my head is always kind of the middle of the Venn diagram of where like the regular visitors and the festival visitors meet, and it's just wild. I would say this is the best place to come if you want to take some very interesting photography that you will never get when you're here throughout any of the other months. Very hard to focus, so I am gonna keep this intro short. I'm gonna take you to a lot of the classic locations of the festival season, but I am also gonna try and find some of the places you might not know about, which are new or places that exist throughout the year but are doing something new for the festival. Also, I'm gonna give you some tips for shows that I personally am looking forward to seeing. Stay tuned. As you can probably tell, the top part of the Royal Mile is not for the faint-hearted during the month of August. Come here to see plenty of free performances and the thickest crowds to be found in the whole of UK. Large and loud performances are traditionally scheduled for the end of the day, after 8 PM or so if you want to see something real big, try to stick around for then. If you'd prefer to see some buskers in a quieter setting, Fringe also has buskers scheduled for performances at St. James Mall. This is, obviously still not super quiet, but I mean anything is quieter than this. Next up, the centre of the festival happening, the Edinburgh University area around George Square and Bristow Square. It's where you can find the Gilded Balloon, Underbelly and Assembly festival areas. All offer good options for drinks and food, but I especially like the Underbelly for a quieter vibe and delicious jerk chicken. George Square Gardens also feel a lot more family friendly to me, and even though they're by no means quiet, they are just much less overwhelming. Also, side note, if overwhelm is an issue, don't forget that Fringe offers official sensory backpacks, which include sunglasses, fidget toys, ear protectors and more. The meadows are traditionally the place to see circus acts, and if you walk through them all the way to Newington, you'll find the House of Oz. A lot of countries have some sort of tied-up program featuring their countrymen and countrywomen, but Australia is always seriously bringing it. Enter the gibbon-guarded gate to visit their garden besprinkled with charming handmade decor, and try either some of the brunchy bits or some of the Aussie dinner specialties, like whipped Vegemite butter or steak with Vegemite jus. I guess you just better like Vegemite. Or is it Vegemite? This venue has been voted Venue of the Year last year, and I can totally see why. The show lineup is amazing, and I shall give you my personal recommendation in a bit. Of course, the festival spills into Newtown as well. Street performers have shows scheduled in front of the National Gallery every day, so you can make your lunchtime M&S meal deal much fancier than usual. George Street has a lot going on too. Just like last year, you can now find street food and drinks alongside breezy and plentiful seating in the area. Now it's traditionally time for some show recommendations, because when you look into the Fringe guidebook, because it is a book, it's like this thick, or any other of the guides to any of the parts of the festival season here in Edinburgh, it can get really overwhelming, really fast. And also, if you're just walking around kind of relying on posters, that's also not foolproof. Because let me tell you, I used to absolutely hate Daniel Sloss's face based on just his posters, and turns out I actually love him. So one of the first shows we went to see was in the House of Oz, which I showed you previously. This was Anna Piper Scott. She is a trans comedian, and this is what her show is about the experience of being a trans comedian in relation to some other comedians who might not quite be up to speed with the world trying to be a better place now. She is absolutely hilarious, but it's also a very moving show. Another act that I am super excited to see again, because we did see him open for Game Grumps earlier this year, is Jazz Emu, a UK-based kind of a comedy songwriter. If you like Flight of the Conchords, you will definitely love Jazz Emu. He has two shows on, one kind of with friends, which is kind of later in the night, and one of his own. He's also on TikTok and I believe on Instagram. With most of these comedians, that's how you can kind of tell if their sense of humor is gonna mesh with yours. So that's another tip for picking a show. If you're coming to Fringe with any friends who might not have like full command of the sort of like comedy level of English language, then I do recommend seeing one of the international acts. My favorite would be the Jaru Jaru from Japan. They do this sort of like unhinged improv. In the guide they do say that it's okay for older kids, but because this is based off basically the audience's ideas, sometimes it just turns out to be not that kid-friendly. I also need to give a shout out to my friend Nicole, who has bravely started her own show this Fringe. It is called Why Am I Like This, and it is about her story of getting diagnosed with ADHD and kind of battling with the lack of knowledge of her ADHD and how that impacted her life. This is less of a comedy, more of a kind of a funny drama life story. I do recommend seeing it if this is a theme that you're interested in, or maybe, you know, someone in your family is. And she also agreed to make a little bonus video with me about what it's like to be a Fringe performer. So yeah, hopefully that's gonna make you even more motivated to see her show. One thing that I noticed is a big deal during 2023 Fringe is the Dark Noon show, which is supposed to be this kind of interesting take on American history as portrayed by a group of South African actors. I am still considering seeing that. Apparently it's like a show that some people will just walk out of and some people will give it a standing ovation. So if you want to be a part of something possibly very big in the making, I would recommend that one. Okay, I think now is a good time to go check out some events and pop-ups that are here for the festival season that I haven't covered in my last video from 2022. So yeah, I hope you're hungry. If you identify as a breakfast person, just like me, you'll be delighted to learn that the new street food area in Omni Centre, Edinburgh Street Food, now does brunches. Each vendor has a special meal available daily between 10 and 12 throughout August. And after being your brunch guinea pigs, we are happy to say that you'd be a fool to miss out on this. Another cool thing that's happening throughout the month is this Makers Market, placed right under St. John's Church at the west end of Princess Street. It's a fully accessible and honestly absolutely humongous market full of handmade and locally designed goods. Some of the sellers told me that they are only in for a couple of days, so if you pop in more than once, chances are that you'll see something new each time. Also, a little secret tip, towards the west end of Rose Street, Homie's Pizza has set up a little pop-up pizza police box. Yay! So those were some of the nice little pop-ups and special things happening around the festivals here in Edinburgh. Even just walking here, I noticed that some of the stuff that normally is not available, especially at this time of day, is available now. For example, my favorite gluten-free Brazilian pancakes, tupiniquim, which are just above, kind of at the top end of the middle Meadows Walk, you know, close to the university. Those were open still at 8:30 p.m. Yay! Another big thing is that in the whole month of August, the trams are actually running all night long, which I wish they kind of did anyway, you know, for people who need to get to the airport. But, you know, I think that now it's really nice for all the performers to be able to get to their Leith Airbnbs and, you know, get there safely thanks to the trams. Thank you, trams. Now don't forget that if you ever make it to the Fringe or any of the Edinburgh festivals, it is likely that either you can get some cheaper tickets for kind of like the preview shows that usually happen just before the festival officially starts, or you can get discounts as a local. There is also the half-price hut. I'm not sure if there's actually multiple of them for each one of the sort of sub-festivals of the whole season. I know that there's definitely one. I'm gonna try and mention it in the doobly-doo. That's where you can get a half-price ticket for shows that are on the night or the next morning, because honestly, this year some of the more sought after tickets really are getting to that price point of almost £20, which does get kind of pricey, especially if you're not seeing shows on your own. So yeah, it might be practical to pop into one of those huts or maybe partake in the free Fringe. Okay, if you are a local and you're watching this and maybe it's kind of like getting towards the end of the festival and you're getting a bit tired of all of the hullabaloo around the festivals, maybe pop into my shop, link in the doobly-doo, where I'm gonna post, I already have posted my newest pin, which says FRAZZLED by FRINGE, and you can sort of subtly tell everyone that you are tired and you don't want any more leaflets. Of course, I fully appreciate and love all the performers here. It is honestly a pin that might be appreciated by them also, because after 3 weeks of non-stop performing, I'm sure they will need this pin also. So yeah, stop by my shop, check out all the new stuff, and if you enjoy this video, if you want to see more videos about Edinburgh, traveling around Scotland, practical tips, and sometimes even trips beyond Edinburgh, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to visit me on my Instagram, either under KakiBot or KakiBlog. First one more for my illustrations, the other one more for my photography and just kind of Edinburgh in general and travels. Yes, nice pictures. Okay, I think that now I'm gonna grab a little half pint that is calling my name because it is very humid. It's that signature Edinburgh summer, and I shall see you soon.